listeners, a very pleasant good afternoon to you. Gabe Farias and Dr. Daniel H. Kellum Jr. We're back for another edition of the KellumMD.com video podcast. Dr. Kellum, how are you doing? Why are you looking? You got to scrunch a little bit. You know you're taller than me. You know you're excessively taller than I am. By the way, this is a beautiful shirt. Like, what is this, velvet? It's gorgeous. Like, what? It look. I call it stucco. I don't know, orange.
It came with a vest. But
Did it really?
I was afraid you were going to be wearing those, so I didn't bring it.
So you didn't bring the vest. All right, gotcha. Dr. Kellum, we've had some folks that have asked me a question, and of course, I'm not a doctor, and I had to write it down because I'm not the smartest, sharpest pebble in the pond, so to speak. Preventative medicine versus reactive medicine. I have high blood pressure. You've got me on stuff like nifedipine and losartan. I'm guessing those are examples of reactive medication, or not reactive, but preventative medications.
Well, both actually.
Okay.
And so really when you look at that, yes, we're treating hypertension so we don't have issues with things like stroke or heart attacks. And so to that degree, it is preventative. But in some ways it's reactive because your pressure was elevated. And so we wanted to make sure we brought that down. So we're preventing the end results that we don't want to happen. But really true prevention, starts really with lifestyle, diet, activity, all of that kind of stuff. And so True prevention is that preventing, once a disease process starts, diabetes, for example, high blood pressure, for example, we try to treat those vigorously to keep them under control so that we don't have secondary issues because of that. So yes, in some ways they are preventative type things, but they're reactive in a way. I know that doesn't make a ton of sense.
No. It actually does make sense. If I come in and my blood pressure is, let's say, just out of whack, 220 over 110, something, I'm guessing a reactive medication that's short term is probably what's going to be needed at that moment. Or do you put us on something that serves as a reactive and a proactive medication?
So both, right?
Yeah.
So if you come in and your blood pressure is normal, we're not going to put you on a blood pressure medicine to prevent it from being an issue. Because people would have issues. But if you come in that scenario that you're talking about, we react to treat the pressures, but we also were preventing issues associated with that. And so it's a little bit of both, but the point is that often we do try to put people on things with certain processes going on to prevent end results, kidney damage, heart damage, strokes, those types of things. Yeah,
and one of the topics we were going to talk about for future podcasts is knowing your blood pressure, knowing your blood sugars, knowing your oxygen levels. Those are important kind of things to know, to at least give yourself an understanding of whether or not you need to go get seen.
Yeah, actually, that's a great point, Gabe. And I think that's something that people should do anyway, just by coming and getting their annual exam. And so when you understand your numbers, to your point, where your blood pressure is, where your cholesterol is, specifically the breakdowns, where maybe your sugar is or your average sugar, whether there's prediabetes or not, knowing those numbers are really very important, because understanding a baseline of where your health is, so you could either improve it and get that better, and we follow that progress, or make sure that there's no worsening of those issues. And so, I mean, I think of all the things, you're absolutely right. The important part is really understanding where your health is. And so here at Kellum Family Medicine, we try to do a very good job in making that better. But wherever you may go, it's important that you get that done, because unless you understand your health and understand what your numbers are, you're really not going to know where you're going in the future. And so I think that's a super important component of what we do. Back to what we're talking about, that way we can get and stay with more preventative type things as opposed to reactive type things.
I guess if you were to rank them, and I know you're going to say, Gabe, it's all important, but to me, I would think, because I've got diabetic family members, blood sugar, and also blood pressure, because that runs in my family. Those are kind of the top two, aren't they?
They're very important for sure. But honestly, as simplistic as this may seem, really it starts with your weight, and it starts with your lifestyle. And so, knowing the numbers, as simple as how many times a week you exercise, those are really very important things. And then understanding where your blood pressure is at, and understanding where your blood work is at. I mean, all of that stuff is really important. I don't know if one is more than the other, just depending on where things are at. But really, this whole thing is a mixed bag, and you've got to control all those components to make sure that really we maintain the best health we can long term.
Yeah, and I guess, I always like circling back to get a physical, get an annual checkup, go see Dr. Kellum, whether it's one of your Kellum Health Diagnostics physicals, which is what I recommend everybody take, or just a traditional physical. Get that baseline so you know.
Yep, very true. And so, that's one of the things that as family doctors, prevention is really the key with that. And so getting your annual wellness visit, understanding what the results of your visits are, that's the important part of things.
Yeah, and you've got great providers. It's everybody wants to see Dr. Kellum, but you're the first one to say, that's great if you can get in to see me. But top to bottom, whether you're at Braun, whether you're at Bergheim, whether you're at Schertz, the providers you have are just tremendous.
They are. I would trust them with my families.
Yeah.
And that's our philosophy, because our patients are our family. And so, yes, any of them come in, they all understand what's going on. But really, beyond just us, people take control of their health. Get out, see who you need to see, but get your understanding of where your numbers are, and really work on the preventative, so we don't have to work on the reactive part. And I think that really makes a big difference.
Yeah, and for blood pressure checks, you can go to CVS or Walgreens and get something for $10-$20.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good solid. It's the same thing that it may not be the same equipment, but it gets you the same result, which is where your baseline is.
It certainly gives you an understanding.
Okay. Well, Dr. Kellum, thank you so very much, man. I really do like that shirt. And the joke was, I like it so much I probably can't afford it. But I know that's something that your wife picked out. Rose got that for you, had to have. Yes? No? Maybe?
All right.
All right. That's going to wrap up this edition of the KellumMD.com video podcast. For Dr. Daniel H. Kellum Jr., I'm Gabe Farias, folks. Stay healthy.